Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take the TXT files that your Raspberry Pi has been recording of the data that you've been collecting and take those TXT files, upload them to your Google your Google Drive account, and then import them into a spreadsheet that you can graph to analyze your results. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your Gmail account. I'm going to present my screen here. There we go. Okay. You're going to want to go to your Gmail account, something like this, and then you're going to click on this and go to your Google Drive right there. Once you're in Google Drive, you can say, give me a new file upload. And you're going to have to do this from your Raspberry Pi, from your browser in Raspberry Pi. You can go to your Gmail account and access it, and then when you go to the drive and you want to upload files, you will find that you can access the data files for your account. I don't have any here, but that's what you would do. You would access the data folder, go to those text files, and upload them to your screen. Once you've got them uploaded, you're going to find files that look something like this. It's going to be a TXT file like that, and they'll have names associated with each date. There's 5/29, there's 5/28, there is 5/28, and etc. So what you're going to do then is you're going to then go and create yourself and open up, once they've been uploaded to your drive, you're going to open up a new Google Sheet. And what I recommend you do is you start in the second row so that you can use that first row to create your column labels. You're going to go to File, Import, come down here, find the file you're interested in. In my case, it might be 5/29. You can select it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace my data at the selected cell. The first time you bring it in, you're just going to stick it right in to the sheet you already have. And an important thing to do is to set up separator type as a comma, because the data is separated by commas in the TXT file. Convert text to numbers, yes, yes, yes. And then we're going to import the data. And there's the data. And what we have here is what we call temp cycle, which is how many 15-second temp cycles have been counted. It was when it became midnight that day, it was still running an experiment, so it was up to 2488. This is the 10 count. It's just a count 1 to 10. This is the mode number. What part of the experiment am I in? I'm in mode 3 at the very end. Here is my temperature, and here's my target temp. And you can see I made a mistake on the programming here because, well, I didn't make a mistake in the programming so much as in recording the data. It has a target temp of the maximum right now, which I already fixed, but that's why that's there. And then this is the heater on or off, 0 being off and 1 being on. So now that's the first set of data, and I can scroll down, 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 down until I probably arrived in the morning and I triggered it again. And you can see how I triggered a new setup. I have a temp cycle of 1. Happened to catch a 10 count before it synchronized of 2, but that doesn't really matter. It synchronizes down there. I'm in mode 1. The current temperature was 27, and then the target temperature was a time ramp, right? A ramp up to the maximum. So you can see that it's slowly increasing that. That's a calculation. And then the heater on or off right there. So now I'd like to start graphing this and see what happens with my experiment. So all I have to do to graph it is to just grab these 2 columns. I want to grab the target temp and the regular temp. Then I just have to highlight everything. Now there's 720 temperature cycles in 3 hours. So the first 3-hour section mode 1 is going to be 720. You'll see when I get to 720, it'll change from mode 1 to mode 2, right there. You see that? Change from mode 1 to mode 2, right there, around 720. The count is not precise because of the way it sets up, but it's within several beats. And then we're in mode 2 for another 720. You can see we're trying to get to our target temp. Another 720 time cycles. We're in mode 2. I just have to keep highlighting it. I just have my cursor all the way down at the bottom, and it's just grabbing everything. It's a little time consuming. And then here I am into mode 3. And you can see I still haven't fixed my data file. It still says my target temp is at the max, but you can see how the computer knows that it's supposed to drop it down to that minimum of 27. Oops. You can see that I got myself into a new cycle there. So I'm going to go back here, there. Now, I've highlighted these columns that I'm interested in. I want to see how my experiment performed. I can build a graph of it. I'm going to insert a chart. And there's two tabs. There's the setup and the customize. The setup is what you use in the very beginning. I want to set it as a line chart. And I also want to set the vertical axis so that I can zero in on my chart more easily. To do that, I have to go to the customize chart, go to the vertical axis, set the minimum value. I'm going to set it to 25, set my maximum value to 35. That should give me a nice chart there. You can see how the red is the target temp and the blue is the actual temp. And it looks like I caught the beginning of the next experiment a little bit at the end. So I would have to adjust that. But you can see that the time ramp went pretty well, but then I wasn't able to, the temperature was not able to get to the maximum before 3 hours actually concluded. It took longer than 3 hours. And that has to do with some of the settings that I'm going to describe to you. Clearly, we need to make some adjustments to the settings so that I can hit that maximum temperature at the correct time. That's an important aspect here, and that's part of the calibration that you're going to be engaged in. And then you can see that it held it at the maximum for the correct amount of time, but there's a fair bit of variation. And then at the end of the mode 2, it went into mode 3, and it dropped naturally back to the target. So that's the first graph right there. And as you get better at this, you'll be able to make graph titles and all kinds of things like that. In fact, if you click on it, you go to customize, you can customize the chart and act titles here, and I can say 5, 28, 20, test run, temp, sensor 1. And you can see now why we're going to have to give each of our temp sensors an individual name once we come down to it. There it is. There's my graph. So now I'd like to do the next one. Same thing. Here's my first data point. I'm going to grab everything and I'm going to just scroll down. It'll take me a minute to do it. It takes a few minutes. There are better ways to do this than to just scroll all the way down. Some people you can page down. But this works for me. You can just watch the mode. I'm in mode 2 now. I'm at row 1200 or so. There I am into mode 3. You can see I'm still running the same experiment. Still haven't fixed my max temp problem. It is definitely fixed in your coding. But the computer knows what temperature it's supposed to be. It's just the way it was recording it was not captured. There we go. Right, so there I am. So I don't need to grab the whole thing. You can see that I'm down to the temperature has dropped back to the 27 degrees that I'm trying to hold. I'll give myself a little bit of data there. There we go. So then I'll go over here, chart. Line chart, customize, vertical axis, minimum value of 25, maximum value of 35. There it is. And you can see now I've had some different settings, and those settings allowed me to hit the maximum temperature at the correct time. So the changes that I made to the settings, they actually worked. And I'll show you in the next video how to change those settings. And it has to do with how often the heater is on for each of the 10 counts. Okay, so now one more time. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. You see that I've run out of data, but I want to import some more data from the next one. So I'm going to import the data from the 30th, I do believe. There it is, the 30th, right? Yeah, May 30th, selected that data. Now I'm going to I'm not going to create insert a new spreadsheet. I'm just going to append it. To append something is to add it on to the bottom. So I'm just going to add the data onto the bottom. I'm going to use a comma separator type because that's how I'm separating my data columns. And I'm going to import the data. And there it is. And you can see that it just created a whole new set of data. And this is the next day's data, and the experiment kept running. And then I woke up and I came and sat down and started tinkering with it. And you can see that I started it and then stopped it and then started it and stopped it, and see if I actually got the experiment running. So here's another run. So we're going to go and we're going to make one more graph. Just grabbing the data. Grab all three of my time frames, my modes. Mode 1 was the time ramp. There we are into mode 2, which is hold at the maximum temperature. And shortly we'll be into mode 3, and I still hadn't fixed my max temperature setting, but I guarantee you it is fixed. And then we'll see how mode 3 works out as the data drops down. It's 27, there we go. Oops, yeah, that's good. Okay, and we're holding at 27. There, and there's all my data. I'll make a chart. I'm going to make a line chart. Go to customize. I'm going to go to the vertical axis. I'm going to set my minimum to 25, my maximum to 35. I like that. There, and there it is. And you can see I did a pretty good job, but again, I've got to figure out how to minimize all of this variation. I'm managing to hit the maximum temperature at the correct time, but you can see that there's an opportunity for me to perhaps smooth out these variations. And that's what we're going to be looking at in the next section. So now you know how to create charts. You can add titles in. You can do a variety of things, set the minimum and maximum for the axis value to give you the best view. And it's these charts that you're going to use to make the adjustments to your settings, which is the topic of the next video. Thanks for watching.